Welcome back to South Carolina. Now the rest of my interview with Vice President Vance. Federal judge bans the use of Alien Enemies Act to deport illegal immigrants. What's your reaction to that? There are a lot of lawsuits, a lot of judges weighing in. This one seems like it's pretty significant.
So 3 quick reactions. First of all, the judge doesn't make that determination whether the Alien Enemies Act can be deployed. I think the President of the United States is the one who determines whether this country is being invaded, and under the Biden administration it was. And number 2, of course, district court judges can make their rulings. We're aggressively appealing this stuff. We do think that the higher appeals courts, and in particular the Supreme Court, is going to recognize immigration enforcement is a core function of the President of the United States. If you tell the President he's not allowed to deport illegal criminals, then you're telling the President he's not allowed to be the President. We reject that. We think the Supreme Court's going to reject that. But the final point here, Brett, is we knew this was going to happen. We knew that there are very well-funded, very passionate, far-left interest groups who love, I don't know why they love it, but they love having violent criminals. They love having 20 million illegal aliens in the United States of America. We don't love that. We were elected to change it. We didn't think it was going to be easy. The president in particular, he said they're going to try to stop us at every single step of the way from deporting the millions of illegal immigrants that Joe Biden let in. But he's doing his job. I'm doing my job. And I think that we're going to get there.
Are you running point on the big, beautiful bill? Are you going to be active in trying to get that across the finish line? And where is it?
Well, I talked to John Thune about it last night, actually. And I would say the people running point fundamentally are Mike Johnson and John Thune, because they're the great Senate and House leadership that we have that are actually negotiating some of the legislative deal making. Look, Brett, I feel very good about it. I think that we've got every legislative win we've wanted thus far. Yes, of course, I'll be working it aggressively. But when you ask, will I be the point person? I guarantee you, who's going to make a lot of phone calls is Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States. I'll make a lot of phone calls. I'm sure Mike Johnson, the Speaker, and John Thune, the Majority Leader, will work it too. We're just going to get this done. If we don't do it, Brett, very simply on the policy, because I know the politics matter, but if we don't do this, millions and millions of Americans are going to see the biggest tax increase they've seen in a generation. We can't let that happen. When we say we want to rebuild American manufacturing, part of that is making it easier for American businesses to invest in our country. The big, beautiful bill is a core part of that.
Cutting spending is a core part.
Sure.
DOGE has done things. I interviewed Elon and all his team. What do you think about that as he's exiting the stage?
Well, first of all, he's not really exiting the stage. I mean, he came in saying, I'm going to work on this for 6 months. And he's not going to disappear, by the way. He's still going to play a regular role. He's just not going to be in Washington every single day because he's got a day job, right? So I think that what they've already done is amazing. And I think that I'm optimistic, I should say. You never know until you know, right? We're not going to know the full scale of DOGE savings in 2026 until we get to 2026. But I actually think that what we'll look back and have said is we cut out a ton of waste and fraud in our own government, and we saved the American taxpayers hundreds of billions and maybe more dollars through this effort. One of the biggest improvements in government efficiency we've seen in the history of our republic. I think a very, very good thing for the American people.
Mr. Vice President, thank you for the time. Thank you for taking me to a place where I had to wear a hard hat. I mean, that's always good.
We had a good time.
Really
Thanks,
appreciate
man.
it.
Good to see you,
Thank
Brett.
you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.